makes you so sick at heart that you can't take part. You can't even passively take part.
A few years ago, I made an infographic of the far right, which was an attempt to visualize the different communities, such as the alt right, the alt light, all these other ones. No one saw it, but that's fine. And last year, I did a similar one for the left. Now, I'd been fascinated by the alt right for quite some time now. In fact, there is a chapter in my book where I discuss people like Steven Pinker and his role in some of these communities. He's not alt right, but he is sort of a part of the intellectual dark web, so to speak. So it was kind of a bit of the research done for that. And at the time, I wasn't really into leftist commentary online at all. I think the first show that I started watching was the Majority Report, maybe no more than 2 years ago. And I kind of felt like I wanted to do that same infographic again, but this time for the online left. So last year I did a lot of research on this. I started, looking at uh, channels that were, you know, uh, producing left wing content. To be honest, that was kind of the inspiration for me starting this channel. And definitely, I started watching videos of some of the more famous names in these communities. And certainly one person that struck me as just an absolute asshole was Destiny. And when I say asshole, I mean that word doesn't even begin to cut it. Like, this guy was just vile, like vile. And it's kind of sad because he sort of made a name for himself uh, debating people on the far right, which I think is something that is, I'll give him credit for it. I think that was definitely a very positive thing for the online left as a whole. But then he seems to have gotten into an anti-leftist rabbit hole over the past couple of years, burned literally every bridge known to man. Everyone except his absolutely, foaming at the mouth, demented community hates him. And I think he's been banned, God knows how many times from Twitter and yeah, the guy is, like I said, a lot of these people have bad takes. A lot of these people aren't particularly good people, but definitely, I think Destiny stands on a whole different level of just being an absolutely unbearable human being. And his Twitter kind of reflects that. I mean, sorry, apparently that is not his Twitter account. That is his friend's Twitter account who tweets in his name. We all know that's bullshit. But yeah, LGBTQIA plus Latin X pansexual gender queer norm. I mean, this is obviously just mocking people who put their identities on their profile, which I also think is a bit too much at times. But knowing his history and knowing that his Twitter persona is basically just ridiculing and slamming any leftist or any leftist idea. That's kind of what he's doing. But he's been, like I said, going on this rabbit hole of just having some very, very demented takes as of late. And the latest one is probably the most demented of all, and the bar is very low. So it all started with this tweet, which apparently was in response to a guy called Mindwaves. I don't know if he's another Twitch streamer or whatever, who's responding to someone who tweeted, "A dude slipped his condom off during sex after I asked him to wear one this week. And it's been bothering me, but I was too awkward to say anything, not even the first time this has happened. Stop doing this, man." So, this is what is known as stealthing, to take your condom off in the middle of sex without the girl noticing. And it definitely constitutes assault or rape, whatever you want to call it. This is something that is absolutely vile, and no man should do it by any stretch of the imagination. This is just not permissible activity. And yeah, I think if you're a woman and you have sex with a guy who does this, just don't have sex with this guy ever again. Like don't even, have any contact with this kind of person again. But there are young women who can be very impressionable, can be under a lot of pressure, might have feelings for the guy. You can perfectly understand why it is a natural reaction for some of them to feel uh, awkward about bringing this up. You know what I mean? It's the same reason that a lot of women don't report abuse the moment that they are abused, because uh, it is, these are circumstances that I think people who aren't in that situation and don't have, whatever mindset exists that time in terms of the attraction between them and what it's very easy for basic what I'm trying to say is it's very easy for an outside observer to say, oh, that is abuse, you shouldn't have tolerated it. It's very easy for us to say that because we would assume that in that situation we would have acted differently. But the fact of the matter is we may not have. And that is why it is very important to believe women when something like this happens to them, and be empathic enough to recognize that the fact that they didn't do anything about it at the moment does not mean that they felt it was okay. So again, this is very basic shit. Like if you're a guy and you don't understand this, work on yourself. Seriously, work on yourself, because this is not normal behavior. And if you think it's normal behavior, or if you think that society has normalized this kind of attitude that you should have to women when they've been abused, uh, we shouldn't normalize it. Anyway, this guy called Mind Waves responds, if you knew he took off the condom and you couldn't even bring yourself to say anything, you shouldn't be having casual sex. So that is absolutely shit thing to say to someone, because like again, this is like standard right wing response to anyone who says that they've been raped. It's like, well, why didn't you go to the police immediately? Like immediately. Wait, you waited until the next day? That is basically the response. Find a reason to doubt the sincerity of the woman who's making the complaint about getting abused or raped or whatever. So yeah, very shit thing to say, and he retweeted it. Destiny retweeted this, and someone else replied, a hot take from guy who said trans people not disclosing their genitals is rape. Taking off your condom mid-sex without disclosing, that is a-okay. That is the original Destiny tweet. If you are engaged in sexual activity with someone and you have a surprise set of genitals, you are engaging in sexual activity with someone that they didn't give informed consent to, which is rape. So, amazing standard, right? It's not rape if you take your condom off in the middle of. That's not rape. That's not assault. Whatever you want. But a trans person not disclosing their genitals to you until you're in the bedroom, that is rape. Okay. I would think most trans people would be absolutely terrified for you to discover until you're getting naked that person is of a different biological sex. I would think they'd be terrified about that. But yeah, that is Destiny's take. And so this spiraled. This turned into a snowball that just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. He replies, if you're noticing someone is taking a condom off and you can't say anything, you probably don't have the emotional maturity to engage in sex. You should just grab a caretaker or something and stick to masturbating to furry porn. Sorry. Wow. Again, not surprising when you realize what kind of a piece of shit Destiny is. But this is low. This is very low. And he just keeps going at it. That's the thing. That's this guy's problem, is like he tweets something that is absolutely horrible and then just spends the next 24 hours defending that tweet and then deletes them, like after 48 hours. uh Probably because he doesn't want to get banned again from Twitter. Sorry, I want to apologize for my last tweet. You should treat every single woman you come across like a retarded child who's incapable of voicing an opinion about literally anything. Ideally, you would bring her dad along to every fuck so he can guide her through the process. This guy is absolutely deranged. Absolutely deranged. Uh, yeah. And like I said, he keeps going, keeps digging his own grave. It's okay to say that not everyone should engage in casual sex. Maybe some people lack the maturity responsibility to handle it. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Stop sending women into situations where they can't assert even a modicum of agency. It's not hard. Does he realize, like, he's trying to now frame this as like, oh, I've one upped you in terms of my feminism. I'm actually the one defending women's agency in the bedroom. This is demented. This is absolutely demented. Uh, wow, just wow. And just look at the responses. I can see this is going to go on a while. This isn't a situation where the woman isn't mature enough to engage in casual sex. This is a situation where the dude violated her consent and her fear response triggered, which none has control over. And then he replies, she never mentioned a fear response. She said she felt awkward. If something like that triggers a fear response, you shouldn't be having casual. Again, this is all just laying the blame on the woman. Uh, this is just insane. Uh, then yeah, someone then she's another Twitch streamer. If your first response to someone being stealth is to blame them for not fighting back enough, you're not normal. Your priorities are evidence to all those around you. Women should not have to ask multiple times for you to keep a condom on. And then look at this. This is when you realize that like the Twitch political streaming community is basically like it's Jersey Shore with slightly uglier people, or rather way uglier people, and just marginally better political takes. Super rich that a person who cheated on their boyfriend by letting a fan of mine into my apartment without my permission and fucked them on my bed for 12 hours is trying to give anyone advice on consent or healthy sexual interactions. Keep the virtue signaling up. What the hell? Like, how does this happen? I really want to know the context. Now I'm curious. I really want to know what the context of this. Letting a fan of mine into my apartment without my permission and then fuck them. Like I said, this is Jersey Shore. A very deranged Jersey Shore. And I loved it. I'm only posting this because I love this comment. Did you explicitly tell her not to do that multiple times? Maybe you're not mature enough for an apartment. That's the same thing. That's the same logic. Why are you complaining? Why are you giving away your apartment to random people? I would never do this, by the way. Absolutely never do this. Uh, this is crazy. Absolutely crazy. But yeah. And then we get to the best part of this story. So here we have another person on Twitter known as Dreamleaf, who made this pretty funny. She was asking for its starter pack. And there's Destiny and that other Mind Waves dude who looks like a total creep, I must say. And he replies, number of context. Apparently Dreamleaf is a very big Vosh fan. And if you've spent any time in these online left communities, you will know that Vosh and Destiny hate each other. So, number of sexual harassment claims your favorite streamer has substantiated against him, 1. Number of sexual harassment claims made against me, 0. Every day, people like you create future rape victims. Keep up the great work. How does this create future rape victims? I really want to know. And, for someone who prides himself as being like this debate bro who knows all the, points out all the logical fallacies of everyone else, this is kind of a logical fallacy. Like, what the hell does any harassment claims to her favorite streamer have anything to do with what he's basically doing. But then the whole reason that I'm making this video is because of the response, which I absolutely... This was an absolute destruction of poor Destiny. Ready?
Not that you never drank.
I know, right? If I was a real friend, I would make you... Okay.
Okay, stop.
Go! Go!
That is the guy
Oh my
lecturing
God.
people on rape and harassment.
Yeah, say sorry to
Get the
Mom.
bus.
Just wow.
Just let her play another week.
Damn. That was brutal. That was brutal. I suspect this video is from quite some time ago, but yeah, dude, if you know you've done things like that, you should not spend like days on end defending a shit take like this when you know you've done shit like that. And you know, I don't usually do videos. I don't think I've done videos of like the Twitch political streaming community. I don't do Twitch. I have no intention to. I find it just this is the reason why I think Twitch politics is so fucking toxic. Not so much because of the politics, but because of the people who are involved in this. And most of these people are just really fucking immature people. And while there are a few that I've seen and that I've enjoyed their content, the fact is the majority of them are more like Destiny than they are more like some of the good ones. So wow. And I also say this because we live in an age where, you know, people, especially young people, don't want to get their politics from the mainstream media for obvious reasons, that it's shit, and it's also misleading. They also promote misinformation. You know, all the criticism of the media as a result of the Joe Rogan scandals, I think is accurate. Unfortunately, also the criticism of Joe Rogan is very accurate. So we don't really have, I think, good solutions to these problems. But that is the reason why people are going on YouTube, going on Twitch, getting their politics from people like me, even though I'm a tiny channel. But the risk of you know, there's some other perverse incentives when you are on these platforms. And one of those perverse incentives is like this kind of drama, like this kind of, you know, shit take that you just double down on for days on end. And, you know, it gets to the point where I think a lot of the supporters of these people fall into kind of like a cultist mentality. And I say this not just with people like Destiny, but even, you know, people like Vosh, etc., who have massive communities. But then you look at their followers, and they're also just blinded by these people. And yeah, all you're doing is just generating lots of little cults, defending them whenever they do any shit take, and making it more important to just defend those shit takes than actually engaging with any criticism. So I truly hope that any followers that I might have don't believe 100% of what I say without questioning. And I don't know if this channel is ever just going to be a hobby that I do for an hour a day, or if it's going to get big. I don't know. But even if it does get big, I would not like to see any community deriving from this channel to have that kind of cultist attitude to their favorite YouTuber or streamer or whatever. It's toxic. This is toxic shit. So on that note, if you like this video, please like, please share. Most importantly, please subscribe. And I promise you, I will never turn into Destiny. I can absolutely guarantee you, I won't.